Hello students, this video is part 1 of chapter 13 Time and Motion. In this video, we will cover the topics Introduction, Measurement of Time in Ancient Times, some terms related to pendulum, latest trend in measurement of time and units of time. So let's start. You do most of your day-to-day work at a certain time. As we know, the chapter's name is Time and Motion. It means we are going to study about the time and motion. Time we know very well, that we used to see in the clock that what is time, how much time left and all. Okay. And motion means what? The motion means movement. The movement of any object is called motion. So we most of our day-to-day work we do at a certain time, means at a fixed time. The knowledge of time is essential for carrying out your daily activities. Means what? We should know the time, at what time we are doing our daily activities. Means the knowledge of time is essential, it is important. For example, you have your breakfast at a particular time. For example, you have your breakfast at a particular time in the morning. As we know that what, at a particular time in the morning we used to do breakfast. Then you have your recess at a particular time. And recess also we do in a particular time in the school. You need to know the time to reach the school. We should know at what time we have to reach the school, at what time we have to come back to the school. Means you need to know the time when your school is over, when our school get over, at what the time. So the time for your favorite television program, the time you should go to bed, etc. Means for these all daily activities we should know the time. We should know what is the time to go to bed, to go to get up in the morning and all. So how do we get to know the time? Means how we get to know that what is at what time we have to do which work. So we know the time with the help of clocks and watches. Means how we know that, how we come to know that at what time we have to do which work? By seeing, and we see with the help of clocks and watches. How did people in ancient time get to know the time? But now in the modern time we have clocks, watches, many digital watches and all. But in the ancient time, how people were seeing the time, how they were able to find that at what time they have to do work, because that time clocks and watches were not available. So how do they get to know the time? So here we will see that measurement of time in ancient times. How the people, what devices and how they were finding the time in ancient times. So in ancient times, people did not have clocks or watches for measuring time. As we know that in the ancient time, people were not having clocks or watches for measuring the time or for knowing the time. But those people knew the importance of time. But it doesn't mean that they were not able to see the time at what time in the clocks and watches. So they don't understand the importance of time. They too people were knew the importance of time. Our ancestors used some natural events which repeat regularly after definite intervals of time. So how do they find that at what time what things will be done? So what they used to observe the natural events which repeat regularly after a definite interval of time. So this is how they used to measure time. For example, first, the time taken between one sunrise to the next sunrise was called a day. So how do they find that day? Day for them now also it is same. So how do they find that how much time makes a day? So the time taken from one sunrise to the next sunrise, they call day or solar day. Second, the time taken between one new moon to the next new moon. The time taken between one new moon to the next new moon was called a month. Nowadays we can able to we can count 30 days. We having calendars, we having many things. But for them, how do they able to recognize that this month is over? So how do they count from one new moon to the next new moon? Was what? It was a month. Okay. So they all are the natural events. Third, the time taken by the earth to complete one revolution of the sun was called a year. Means year, how do they find that what? The time taken by the earth to complete one revolution of the sun, and we know that when the earth complete one revolution of the sun, it's called a year. it's called a year. So this is how, with the help of natural events, they used to find the time, like day, month and year. And these were the devices which were used by the ancient people, like sundial, sand clock, water clock. And you can see here more clearly in the picture that this is what, this is a sundial. It is a downwards, it is a plate on which numbering is mentioned here, and one triangular plate was there upside, so that with the help of different timings of the sun's position, this triangular plate makes the shadow on that downward plate, and indicates the time, at what time what was the number and all. And this is how people were using the sundial to know the time. So some of the important time measuring devices used in ancient times were sundial, sand clock and water clock. So these were the devices. This is what sand clock means. There are the two jars. The first jar is filled with fully sand, and with the definite time, in a fixed time, the whole sand of the first glass gets slowly fall into the downward glass. And this is how they make in a fixed time, all the sand will come to the downward glass, and this way makes 1 hour, 2 hour, and they were using the this process to find a definite time. Same for that water clock also. In water clock, there is a that in a flask type jar is there, and at downside jar is there. So water is filled in the first flask, and slowly the water, all the water gets down in the downward jar. So this is how they find that in which how much time, in the how much definite time this process been done. And this is way they used to know the time, they used to find the time, that how much time is been taken. So here, now next topic is measurement of time. Means we know time, but how it measured, how do we know, how we can measure the time. So that we will see here. We need to measure intervals of time which are much shorter than a day. Now we know a day, है ना. In ancient time people were using date, what makes a day, one solar day, one sunrise to the next sunrise. But if we have to measure small intervals of time shorter than day, like half day or more shorter than a half day and all, so how we will measure. So now clocks and watches are the most common time measuring devices used by us. And now for now present, what we are having to measure a short interval of time also, how we can find, with the help of clocks and watches. All the clocks and watches use the principle of periodic motion for measuring time. Periodic motion means what? What repeating events in the same time, in the same. Periodic means in the same period of time, means the events or the movements which are occurring in the same period of time. So that motion is called periodic motion. So clocks and watches works on the principle of periodic motion, because clocks and watches were also what, continuously moving with the same period of time. That's why we can say clocks and watches working on the principle of periodic motion. You have learnt in previous class that a motion which repeats itself at a regular interval of time is called periodic motion. And we must have learnt in the previous classes also that a motion which repeats at a regular interval of time is called periodic motion. Like what? Sunrise, sunset, है ना, one new moon, next new moon, that's all what? Periodic motion. One of the most common devices which show periodic motion is the simple pendulum. Now here we will study about the pendulum also, that, and pendulum works also on the principle of periodic motion. Now next topic is simple pendulum only. So here we will study about simple pendulum. So what is simple pendulum? A simple pendulum consists of a small metal ball, and this small metal ball called as bob, suspended by a long thread from a rigid support. Now as we can see here, this is what this picture is showing, pendulum. It is what? Pendulum. In the pendulum, what? With the long thread, a rigid body, a small metallic ball is suspended such that the bob is free to swing back and forth. Means that bob is free to swing. As you can see, this bob is swinging here and there, means back and forth with the help of this long thread. So the motion of pendulum, the motion of pendulum was first studied by Galileo, who discovered the pendulum and who gave us the principle of Galileo, that pendulum periodic motion, pendulum one by Galileo. A simple pendulum is shown in figure 13.2a, this figure. So here we will study about the some terms related to simple pendulum. Now some terms related to simple pendulum. Pendulum we got it ki what is pendulum, it swings back and forth, but many things are related with this pendulum. Many terms are there that we will study here first. Now first is length of the pendulum. Here we see that it is connected with the long thread. So how we will find the length of the pendulum? See, the length of the string thread, that thread string, from the point of suspension to the center of the bob. Now this is the point of suspension. As we can see this here, a pendulum, from here it is connected, it is tied. So this is the point of suspension to the center of the thread. So here will be the center of the bob will be there. So this length makes the length of the pendulum. So the length of the string from one point of suspension to the center of the bob is called the length of the pendulum. This makes length of the pendulum, and it is denoted by L. It is small l. It is the length of the pendulum. As we can see here, this is what length of pendulum. Here in this picture, if we see, L denotes length of the pendulum from the point of suspension to the center of the bob. Okay, then this is the pendulum clock. If you must might be you have seen somewhere at some places. This is what clock, normal clock, and it works on the principle of pendulum. The pendulum moves back and forth and makes the time period here. So second point in the terms related to simple pendulum is mean position of the bob. Now mean position means the position, center position of the bob. Mean means center. Okay, so how find the center position of the bob? The position of the bob when it is at rest is called its mean position. Means when the bob is at its original position, when it is at rest, when no movement is there, so it will be when it will be at rest, it will be at its center position. Means no back, no forth, it will be at the center. So that position of the bob is called as the position A is the mean position of the bob. If we see in the picture here you can see the center position A here with this position center A, that is what rest position. Means when the bob will be at rest, when the ball will be at rest, it will not any movement will be there, then that will be what, as we can see here, this is back, this is forward. So here this is the center. Means when the position of the bob is at the rest, when it is at the center, here we will say it is at the mean position of the bob. Now third point is extreme positions of the bob. Extreme means ending positions of the bob. So here ending position of the bob, the positions where the bob is at the maximum distance from the mean position. Means the position of the bob at the maximum distance, means at the end of the from the mean position, so are called extreme positions. For example, in figure 13.2b, the position B and C are the extreme positions of the bob. Here we will see extreme positions of the bob. Here you can see that when this bob will take a distance, maximum distance from the mean position, this is what mean position. So from here it is moving and taking the maximum distance till that point. So that position where suppose bob A started moving and went till B, so that is B is what, its extreme position. Again it is coming back to the original position, then again moving forward and going till C, till maximum distance C. So that point C is also its extreme position. So here we can say B and C are the extreme position of the bob. So this was the extreme position of the bob. Fourth point, oscillation of the pendulum. Oscillation means what here? Here we will see what is oscillation. Oscillation means movement of the bob. Okay, so one complete to and fro motion of the bob. Means one complete to and fro. To and fro means back and forth. You know? So one complete rotation of back and forth of the bob about its mean position is called an oscillation of the pendulum. For example, in figure 13.2b, the motion of the bob from A to B, then B to C and back to A is called one oscillation. If we see here through the picture, see what is an oscillation. Here we see that this is pendulum, this is bob. So how it makes one oscillation? Means it is at the rest. When it is at rest, it started moving. So first it will go A to B, Okay, one extreme position it has taken, then from A to B it has come. Now again it will come down, B to C it will go, and means again it will come back to here A. So this makes one oscillation, means A to B, then it come back to A and went towards C and coming back towards A. So this is makes one oscillation, A to B, B to C, and then C to A. Okay, that complete movement, to and from movement, means this back movement coming towards A, forward movement coming back to A. So it makes one oscillation. It makes an oscillation. So here that oscillation also we have understood. Now fifth point is amplitude of the pendulum. Now what is amplitude? Amplitude means height. Okay, amplitude of the pendulum, as the pendulum oscillates to and fro, the maximum displacement, sorry, amplitude means maximum displacement, means how much it has distance it has covered. So the maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position on either side is called the amplitude of the pendulum. Okay, thus in figure 13.2b, the displacement AB or AC is called the amplitude of the pendulum. Now amplitude means how we will find, see, the maximum distance from one side, either here back or either forth, means either backward or forward. The maximum distance has been covered from mean position to the extreme position. So that displacement, because the bob was at the rest, now it's displaced from its main position. It has moved from its original position and went towards B. So that displacement is called amplitude. Okay, it is called amplitude on either side. We can't say that A to B or then B to C and then C to A will make the displacement. No, it will be an oscillation. But the distance A to B, or we can say the distance from A to C, either AB or AC, will be the amplitude of the pendulum. So it is what? Amplitude of the pendulum. Now 6, time period of the pendulum. How to find time period of the pendulum? The time taken by the bob of a pendulum to complete one oscillation, means as much as time been taken by pendulum to complete one oscillation is called the time period of the pendulum. In figure 13.2b, the time taken by the bob of the pendulum to travel from A to B and then B to C and finally back to A is called the time period of the simple pendulum. That only, that time period means the time taken by pendulum to complete one oscillation. And how to complete one oscillation? Here we see the time will be taking by bob to move to A to B, then B to C, and then again C to A, back to C to A. So this time, that complete time taken by this bob to complete that oscillation, so that timing will be called its time period of the pendulum. Okay, so here then next last term is frequency of the pendulum. Now what is frequency? The number of oscillations made by a pendulum in 1 second is called its frequency. Means in 1 second how many oscillations it can cover. Okay, so that numbering of oscillations will be called its frequency. Means in 1 second how many oscillations it can cover. And frequency formula has given frequency F equals to 1 upon time period. Means 1 upon time period means the time period is the timing of one oscillation. So 1 upon time you will divide, so you will get the frequency. So this is what the frequency formula here. Numerical 1 is given in your book also. It is given that a simple pendulum takes 32 seconds to complete 20 oscillations. Means what? It takes 32 seconds to complete 20 oscillations. Means a pendulum has completed 20 oscillations and time has been taken 32 seconds. So what is the time period of the pendulum? You have to find time period. So it's very simple. First we will see here time taken for 22 oscillation is 32 seconds. So we have to find time for one oscillation. So we'll do what? Divide time taken for one oscillation. So 32 will be divided by 20 because 20 oscillation takes 32 seconds. So 32 seconds will be in numerator and 20 will come in denominator. When you will divide, you will get 1.6 second. Means time period for the pendulum is 1.6 second. Now next topic is latest trend in measurement of time. Means now in present, what is the trend in measurement of time? Means how we measure the time. Nowadays we are having many devices, so that only we are going to study here, that the principle of simple pendulum is used in pendulum clock. As we know what the principle of pendulum, simple pendulum will be used in pendulum clock. Okay, the oscillation of the pendulum controls the movement of the hands of the clock. Means, as we know in the pendulum what's happening, what's occurring, oscillations. So this oscillation controls the movement of the hands of the clock. Okay, then a mechanical wristwatch does not have a pendulum. Now we know we used to wear wristwatches and all. In these wristwatches what pendulum is not there, है ना? So instead of pendulum what having, it has a balance wheel which controls the movements of its hands. A small balance wheel is there, that I think we can see in this picture. Here wristwatch it is, and in this balance wheel, this balance wheel is there. It controls the movements of the hands in the wristwatch. These days most of us use quartz clocks and watches. Quartz clocks, quartz is a stone, है ना? It is a stone which is used in the clocks and watches. So these watches measure time accurately, and this watches also gives us the accurate time. Okay. Quartz has a unique property of oscillating when subjected to a small amount of electric current. Quartz, it is a substance, it is a stone. When comes with in the contact of electric current, it starts vibrates, you know, means oscillate. Oscillation we can say vibrations only. So it starts vibrate, it starts oscillates, and because of the oscillation, because of the movement of the oscillation, the quartz help in the movement of the hands of the clock. So with the vibrations, with the oscillations of the quartz stone or quartz, so it makes the hands in movement and it controls the movement of the hands. Okay, in these watches an electric bell and a quartz crystal are placed in an electric circuit, and quartz is present in the form of crystal. So in these watches an electric bell also, and in a electric bell and a quartz crystal are placed in an electric circuit. Okay, the quartz clock are more accurate than pendulum clock, and quartz clocks gives more accurate time compared to pendulum clocks. Here we can see the pictures, a non-digital quartz watch, then it is a backside of a quartz alarm clock. If we can see this type of wheel and all in the alarm clock, and it is a digital quartz watch. So here these are the some latest time measuring devices. Here for measuring short intervals of time, a stopwatch is used. You all must have seen a stopwatch. Okay, so for more short intervals of time, if we have to find, so like in seconds and all, so we use stopwatch, है ना, in school and even in the play during the sports time and all. You must have seen that sir and all teachers carrying the stopwatch and measuring time in your games and in your activities. So here it can be made to start or stop, means that stopwatch it is our control. We can start anytime or stop also with the help of a push button, and is used to measure short intervals of time. Means with the help of push button we can start, we can stop, and we can measure shorter intervals of time. For example, at sports events, mostly at sports events stopwatch is used. It can measure 1/10 of a second, means second we know 1 second is how much, so 1/10 of a second means 10th part of a second, means how much shorter it is. So 10th part of a second also can be measured by the stopwatch. Nowadays digital watches are also available in the market. As we know, nowadays mostly are commonly which watches are they are digital watches. These digital watches do not have hour, minute or second hand. Instead they display time in digits, in the normal simple clock what having small hour hand, minute hand, second hand and all. But in the digital watch, they what hands and all not having. Instead they what show, it shows the time in digits, like 1 12 5 2 3 230, like this. So for the most accurate measurement, atomic clocks are being used. Now atomic clocks we don't use, it is not in normally used. It is used in the bigger projects like scientific projects and all, and in the for the bigger purposes. So these clocks are based on vibrations of atoms for measuring time, and atomic clocks are worked on the principle of the vibrations of atoms. So atoms also vibrate. That atomic clocks are works on the principle of the vibrations of atoms. A timer also, nowadays in mobile also we having timer. We put timer and the time start moving, and the time start been recording. A timer is a special type of clock used to record the sequence of an event. Means if any event is happening, so for how much second, yeah, for how much time that is been happening. So timer records that event. It is used in microwaves, washing machines, traffic signals, and air conditioners, etc. In these machines, electric machines, timer is used. You know, as we nowadays automatic machines are there like microwaves, washing machine. So if we fix the timer, so for that much time only what that devices and that machines will work and it will stop. So it makes our work much easier. So this is what this is how now we having a trend of the measurement of time. Now latest trend in the measurement of time. Now last topic is unit of time. How we can measure that? We know time we can measure, but how we will say that how much time has been done and all. So here we will see the standard unit of measuring time is second. Means standard unit of time is second and it is written as small s. Okay. The larger units of time are minutes and hours and written as min means denote minute and h means hour respectively. Okay, if the larger units of time we want to write, so we can write as minute and hour. So some units and their conversions are as follows. More units are there like what? 60 seconds 1 minute. Okay, 60 minutes make 1 hour, 24 hours make 1 day, 30 days make 1 month, 12 months make 1 year, and 10 years make 1 decade. Okay, 100 years or 1 decade is of 10 years. So 100 years or 10 decade can make 1 century, or 100 years or 10 century makes 1 millennium. So these units you need to learn, you need to remember. Okay, so this was what? Units of time. So this now it is this much that video part is over. Thank you student. I hope you have understood well. Thank you.